Hey, I'm Danny, and today I want to talk to you about my newest guitar in the collection, the Roland G-707 guitar synthesizer controller. Now, I'm sure you may have seen these before, maybe wrote them off because you thought they were specifically for guitar synth, but this is a normal guitar for the most part. It's got two humbuggies, got a volume and tone control, three-way switch. It's got a 1/4-inch output on the back as well as the, I think, 24-pin output for the GK, the GR system. Let's not forget the craziest shape you have ever seen on a guitar. These came out in 1984. They were released in a black color, a red color, a silver color, and they also came in a bass version. They were paired with the GR700, which is this big, huge floorboard of a guitar synthesizer. If you're familiar with synthesizers, the JX-3P, which is a great Roland synthesizer from the 80s, one of the very first synthesizers, if not the first, if I believe, that had MIDI control. The GR700 was basically a floor controller version of that synthesizer. So it's fully analog. I think it was 6 voices of polyphony. It had memory saving, which was a new thing in the early 80s. I don't have a GR700. I don't necessarily want a GR700 because they're gigantic. They're old. I'm not a big fan of having old, complicated gear around just because it's harder to fix and find parts for. So today I wanted to kind of talk about how this guitar here, the G707, is just a great guitar as a guitar, not as a guitar synth. If you are interested in hearing this as a guitar synthesizer, I do have the adapter that takes this old pin plug out to the new Roland GK plug out, the 13-pin connector that you're probably more familiar with. So if you want to hear that, let me know in the comments below. We can plug it into like an SY1000 or something like that. This is made in Japan, so if you want a basis of comparison, 1980s Japanese guitars would be like, you know, Fujigen Ibanez, Matsumoto guitars from maybe Greco guitars, Fender Japan guitars. So the quality's there. Here's a quick clip of the G707 in action. I'm using my pedal board, and it's all going into an IR200 set to a pretty clean amplifier and direct into the DAW so you can hear every nuance of this wonderful guitar. One of the funnier things about this guitar is that it's basically impossible to play sitting down. It has this like rubber bit on the bottom here, but I don't know if this was once like stickier rubber and it's like hardened over time. But you know, you're supposed to sit like this and have the rubber rest on your leg. But even if that worked, the plugs come out exactly where your leg would be. So it's kind of a silly guitar, but I mean, would you really play this guitar sitting down? I don't think so. I think this is one of those times where if you're sitting down playing guitar all the time, this is the one that you get to stretch your legs with. So the bridge itself is kind of cool. It is a proprietary Roland design from what I understand. I think it's similar to a Kahler bridge, but I'm sure a Kahler fan will come at me in the comments saying that's not a Kahler, that's not even close to a Kahler, but I don't know what makes a Kahler, nor do I really care. I'm sorry, Kahler guys. Here's another clip of the G707 in action. This is using the IR200's British stack and a few overdrive pedals that I love on my pedal board. A lot of people are going to ask, what's the deal with the handle? Is it just some sort of aesthetic choice? Yes. Yes, sure. If you were to take the handle off of this guitar, the guitar would still function as it should. The neck wouldn't just like fall out of the neck pocket or anything like that. This is hard alderwood body, good bolt-on neck pocket. It's not going to go anywhere if you were to take this handle part off. The reason for the handle is that guitar synthesis is really hard to do. Like this is an individual six string hex pickup here. It wants to pick up each string individually. One of the biggest challenges for guitar synthesis is that guitars have lots of overtones and harmonic tones that can confuse the digital brain of a guitar synthesizer. What Roland thought would be a good idea is this bar basically attaches to the top of the neck, and it eliminates certain overtones to improve the way that the guitar synthesizer detects the fundamental note, the main note you're trying to play. This is important because if you're trying to convert these notes to MIDI, that's a huge detailed process that the guitar synthesizer brain needs to work out and figure out, not only what MIDI note you're trying to play, but also like the velocity of the note, the bends and stuff like that. So you want as little confusion as possible, and that's why this neck part is designed to eliminate those types of overtones so that the digital pickup doesn't get confused. Does it work? I don't know. Maybe. Like the guitar itself isn't devoid of overtones. It doesn't sound really any different than any of my other guitars. So is this guitar better at synthesizing notes? Probably not. It's a cool thought, and it shows that Boss and Roland are always trying to figure out the best way to do something. The guys who designed this were like, what is the best possible shape and function of a guitar synthesizer guitar that would be best for guitar synthesis, if that makes sense.
Yes!
All in all, it's an incredible guitar. It's super cool. It's a time capsule from the 80s. If you can find one for a reasonable price and condition, I highly recommend you picking it up, even if you're not at all interested in using it for a guitar synthesizer. It's just fun, it's cool, it's small, it probably fits in overhead compartments of a plane. I mean, what more do you need? Something to use as a dumbbell or exercise tool? So that's the G707. Thanks for watching. Guitars are fun. I love guitars that push the envelope of what guitar is. It changes the perceptions of what guitars are and what they can be. So again, if you can find one of these for reasonably priced, get one. You won't be disappointed. But if you are disappointed, let me know in the comments below.